Hello, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining in. We're just waiting for Jason McGiver, co-founder and CAO of Simply Buck Officials. So looking forward to the discussion with him today. And as soon as he joins in here. Hello, Leanne, Barb, thanks for joining. Hello. Great. If anybody has any questions today, feel free to drop it below and I'll try to grab them as well if you have any questions for Jason. All right. All right, here's Jason here. There we go.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Jason. How are you doing this morning?
Good, Melanie. How are you?
Excellent. So we got a few that have joined us already this morning, which is great, and some others that will be jumping on as well. Hello, Lisa. Excellent. So, Jason, why don't I just go ahead and introduce myself, and then I'll pass it over to you, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm Melanie Rathburn, owner and founder of Functional Vitality Health. So I am a functional medicine health coach. I partner with practitioners within functional medicine and integrated health. And wanted Jason to come on today because when I see new products like his that fit with my client profiles, I get really, really excited. So I will tell you more about that, but I want to pass it over to Jason for now to introduce himself.
Cool. Thanks, Melanie.
You're
Jason
welcome.
Jason McIver here, co-founder of Buck. So we create buckwheat-based beverages and products like our gelato. And our whole goal is to bring the goodness of buckwheat to the goodness of our consumers so that they can just express the goodness in their world, how they see fit. It's really important to us to empower the individuals through a nutritional perspective.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Well, if I can just share how I came across you and your brand. I first of all heard about your products at Rocky Point Ice Cream, which is a really popular local gelato ice cream shop, I guess you would call it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yvette and Jamie have been big supporters of our company. They've helped us formulate some of, like, we've done the formulation, but they've tested it at their facility. They've stored our product there, and they've been big champions. They're an awesome local company,
Yeah.
and we love them. We absolutely love them.
Yeah, they're really doing some great things I've been noticing. So yeah, I first heard about your product there. And then I think I told you, Jason, in our first conversation, we were coming back from vacation. I said to my kids, we need to remember to stop by the farmer's market. And my son says, well, it's happening today. So, oh, you're right. So we just pulled in before heading home, coming back from our road trip. And there you guys were at our local farmer's market. And so I was able to grab some products. I was super excited talking to everybody there. So we grabbed some milk, we grabbed some ice cream. But the part that really excited me is that, through functional medicine, we do a lot of deep dives into testing and lab testing and food sensitivities and all of those things. And so currently, my son needs to avoid nuts and a number of different things. And so that is more what we call like an autoimmune protocol, an AIP diet. Maybe you've heard of that, but it's summertime. And how do you tell your son, like, you can't have ice cream because even the dairy alternatives, they're cashew based or, almond based and things like that. And so here came your product and I was able to choose two that suit his pretty strict elimination diet right now. So I was quite excited. So we gathered up your products. We've been really enjoying them. So that's how we came to connect. You and
Some of
I.
the
Yeah.
most rewarding experiences that I've had so far have been to see little kids' eyes light up when they're like, "Oh, we're
Mm,
allowed to have this." There was one
yeah.
family in Port Coquitlam. It was a young boy. He was about 6. Daughter was about 4, and like a new mom type thing. And she just came back for seconds, and they polished off the first one like in the parking lot. And the boy was just so ecstatic that he's like, "Mom, I can have this."
Oh,
So they,
yeah.
yeah, polished off the strawberry and then went into maple walnut, which was just lovely to see. That's the joy of life. And at the end of the day, nutrition absolutely is part of it, but I think the outcome that we're wanting, if you determine a successful life, you could determine it through a bunch of different ways, but I think the main measure is how much joy are you having?
Yeah.
And so if we can get to that functional nutrition piece, it is a platform for joy to be able to occur, because when you have the health, then you can be at your best. And when you are at your best, that's when you can be more joyful. You can create joyful moments for others, and just add the beauty in this world. So.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. Yeah, that's excellent. Well, I do have some questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so, the big one being, how did you get started in all of this?
Wow. So a partner, Peter Yupanko, had called out of the blue about a year and a half ago. And I had just was transitioning from one job into another. I was at an LNG company, liquefied natural gas. And I felt like I was doing something good for the environment. When I got in there, it was really one step forward, not the 10 that I was hoping. So I spent 6 months kind of just doing the yoga, the meditation, the eating right, the everything else. And when my partner called, I just had this really good sense. And as I picked up the phone, I said, Peter, whatever you're about to say, I'm a yes. And then he goes, well, you don't even know what I'm about to say. I'm like, lay it on me. He goes, buckwheat. I'm like, tell me more. And then he started to get into all the properties of buckwheat, of how it's a
Yes.
superfood, how it's amazing for you, how it regenerates the ground. And I said, yeah, I'm in. And so then during kind of when COVID really started, that's when we really dug into this buckwheat company, understood the culture, understood the product, and just had a lot of fun with it. So that's, yeah, a bit of a magical story about how we started.
That's pretty incredible. So what is it? I mean, all of these factors, but why? What was missing in the market that you saw, that Peter saw, that you were able to provide? You've touched on a few things, and I love all of them. Which is why we're having the discussion today: the regenerative farming piece, the giving back piece, the environmental piece, and the nutritious aspect as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we wanted to bring the piece that we felt could expand into the marketplace is something that could give back at the same time that it receives. Like the buckwheat plant is really cool for that. As it grows, it's like giving back into the soil, which is super awesome. But what we saw is we wanted to focus on local. So how do you support the local farmers? We wanted to think about kind of that, seventh generation thought about how do we actually support this planet for our kids and the kids' kids? How do we support our current system? And then more than anything, how do we be bold as a company to do the right thing only because it's right and for no other reasons? And when I say the right thing, it's really about what creates maximum joy, max joy. How do we create that? And there's not really a brand that, in my opinion, is rooted in a theology of max joy or creating beauty in this world. And yes, profit is a part of it, but there's more to that. There's the people, there's the all along the way, there's the people, there's your partners, there your investors, there your every moment. Like right now is the powerful moment. And so I don't see a company that's talking about that in a way that's holistic. And you're aware of this too. When we're eating products, half of it is the nutrition, but the other half is how we are when we're eating it. If we're
Yeah.
all stressed out when we're eating it, it doesn't help anybody. And so as a company, our products need to be able to support nutrition, but also the moment of a mindful, joyful session where you're eating for nutrition and in a relaxed manner that you can digest the best. So that was how we really wanted to add into the market.
Amazing. Yeah. So many of my clients are eating on the run, and it's those reminders to slow down, really appreciate your food, be thankful for your food. And, we need to thank our farmers. The farmers really get left out of the conversation. And if it weren't for them, where would we be? And I really love that Buck continues to focus on that. And yeah, it's really wonderful. So why buckwheat then? I mean, I know when I think about the nutritional aspect of buckwheat, it's quite interesting. It's made from a seed of a plant, like similar to rhubarb. Is that right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
people mistake it for a grain, but it's actually not. But I love the unique taste of it. It's sort of that nutty flavor, but it's not a nut. But for us in my family, we use buckwheat in a number of ways, such as porridge and pancakes and things like that. But I love that it's so high in protein and fiber. You get your B vitamins, all the rest of it. So it's quite nutritious. But also low in allergens, which I like as well. So maybe do you have any comments on that? Just the
Yeah, maybe
nutritional.
yeah, you've touched a little bit about the nutrition there. I'll get maybe into the environmental side and then
Yeah, yeah.
touch back into the nutrition again. From an environmental perspective, it is like not just the most sustainable crop, it is the most regenerative crop that we have out there.
Mm,
It literally, when it puts its roots into the ground, it's really cool. It releases these molecules that turn inorganic phosphates to organic phosphates. So what that means is other plants can now use these phosphates in a natural way, which is super awesome. So it actually regenerates the ground from that standpoint. It's a nitrogen scavenger. So what happens is it pulls in nitrogen, and then when it decomposes, it allows more nitrogen into the ground. And that's really important for other plants to come in afterwards as well, too. We see a lot in crop rotation. You're using in
mm.
poor soil conditions, buckwheat to regenerate that. Because buckwheat just grows so well in poor soil, you need either very little fertilizer or none at all, depending on what your crop is. And that's really important too, because when we use nitrogen fertilizer into the ground, it releases a gas of nitrous oxide, which is 300 times worse than CO2. So by using buckwheat, you're minimizing any CO2 release, which is like amazing. From a water perspective, it uses less water than all the other crops. Bees love buckwheat, which is buckwheat honey is a thing. Buckwheat honey is really cool, actually. If you look at medical grade patches, sometimes in the army, they use
Yeah.
buckwheat honey for burns. Like it's just highly, highly
Oh,
nutritious.
amazing.
So it supports pollinators, which is amazing. There's other natural insects that it actually attracts as well, that help kind of eat off like aphids. And it's just got this really cool ecosystem. When it grows super fast, and it has this canopy, and it blocks out all the competing weeds. So you don't need all those pesticides or herbicides. So for the farmers, it's awesome. Low inputs. For your body, it's
Yeah.
awesome because you don't have the chemicals. Just a lot of good stuff in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Always trying to bring down those glyphosate levels in clients that, we're really unaware of. And I love that aspect with the regenerative farming. So what would you say is the brand identity of Buck? I heard you mention Rebel with a Cause. So can you elaborate
Yeah.
on that? Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely a rebel with a cause. The cause is really goodness. We're steeped in goodness. We're bold in goodness. We're bold to say that the human spirit inherently is good. In this world, there is goodness to be had. And how do we extract that goodness in a way that allows for just more of it to be in this world? When we, as a company, for our culture, for example, we've got one of our values is we default to goodness. An example would be if somebody's away and they're not answering their phone, instead of being like, oh, why aren't they there? We're really asking our team to be like, I wonder what great things they're up to.
Oh, yeah.
What's really interesting in that is from a neuroscience perspective, if we can steep ourselves in goodness, we actually open up our brains to more creative options, to better health, to better even accessing that flow state at work. That's what we're excited about. That's what we're about is how do we just sit in that goodness and move through inspired action. Inspired action is, oh man, when you get lit up about something and then you follow the action, just magical things happen. We've had a number of things in our organization where somebody's come in and just helped out just a little bit, but it was just that little bit that gets you right in that perfect angle. And there's something beautiful about that. And if we can start every interaction by looking for what's good in the person in this world, oh, then this world's just going to be a beautiful, even more beautiful place. I think it's heaven on earth as it is, but it'll just be even better and better and better.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that, Jason. And, that approach is exactly the approach I take with my clients. And, it's rooted in positive psychology. And traditionally, psychology is what's wrong with the person. Let's put a label on it. But instead, that's exactly what you said. Focus on a person's strengths. What's going well, and how are they utilizing those strengths? How are we utilizing our strengths? So wonderful how you've been able to bring that into your culture and carry it forward to the product. I really love that.
Thank you. And I
Yeah.
think it speaks to the functional nutrition perspective too, is
Mm-hmm.
it allows for somebody that may have some sensitivity still to sit in their goodness. Like, how can we get
Yes.
their gut working the best? How can we, like
Mm-hmm.
rutin, for example, which helps the heart, you know that, right? The antioxidant inside
Yes.
of buckwheat,
Yes.
bring that out. So yeah, we love how buckwheat can help situate you in your goodness.
Absolutely. And keep that vision in mind too. What are you working towards and why? What's the why behind it, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, excellent. So, if there was one thing that your customers would know unequivocally, what might that be?
I think we've touched upon it.
Yeah.
If there was one wish that I had for all our consumers is to know that they're inherently good and that there's goodness available to them in this moment. The goodness might be farther or closer depending on how many kids you have hanging off you, how many coworkers are asking for things, and sometimes in the
Sure.
moment it might be unrealistic to say, "Hey, you're having a good time," but there is goodness available in this moment, and when we can take that breath and just sit in it and give ourselves, like, let ourselves off the hook. Here's an interesting thought: we always compare ourselves to something, as a dad or as a
Hmm.
mom or as a coworker. There's always that perfect dad out there that's doing
Mm,
something better, that's fixing something more, that's taking their kids somewhere else, that's whatever. But this is a
sure.
load of crap. Like, let yourself off the hook and
Yeah.
know that there is goodness and start from goodness. And when you can do this, yeah, it makes everything easier. So that would be one thing that I would love for people to know is just inherently there is goodness in them, and we're available to help expand that goodness. So.
Love it, love it. And I love how your passion just shines through. I mean, I know you're hitting that flow state daily. I can see it. So it must be contagious in your organization, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's two things. If you want to get into a flow state or if you want to get into your goodness, appreciate or meditate. That's my kind of
Yes.
go-to statement, right? Like appreciation creates a high level of thinking in your brain, and meditating kind of creates that stillness so we can just interact with multiple things at a time. So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Live in the moment, right?
Your powerful moment of now,
Yeah.
that's where all your power
Yeah.
is.
Yes, absolutely. That's excellent. So what do you appreciate the most about the experience so far with Buck?
You know what? I'd have to give a shout out to my co-founder, Peter. He is
Mm,
elevated in really accepting people as they are. And touching back
mm,
into the culture is we want to elevate it, not just from accepting people as they are, but truly just appreciating them for the gifts that they have to give. And it's interesting because sometimes maybe you're working on a project and you have a deadline and that deadline's approaching. And so you kind of forget that goodness and you just go straight to the task that has to happen. I think Peter is elevated in his ability to reflect, to think, and to say, where's the additional support? Let's not make people wrong because this isn't their strength or what they love to do, but what can we add to really support what they love to do? I think that's just, yeah, it's just paramount. I forgot
mm-hmm.
the question. Sorry, I got passionate about it. What was the question?
Um, just what do you appreciate about the experience so far?
Ah,
What do you appreciate the most? And
I
that sounds like your relationship with Peter and what comes out of that.
I think
Mm,
so. And then I guess by extension, it's developing a company in a way from a culture perspective that I've always wanted that. And it really is this deep acceptance of the goodness of an individual and letting that lead in our culture. That's probably been the most inspiring piece about our company so far.
that's wonderful. Yeah. So I heard about this Give Back program. What
Yes.
is that going on with Buck? Sounds pretty amazing.
Absolutely. So what we've done is we've been bold in saying, hey, how could we actually have a give back program while we're a startup? Because we're in that startup
Yeah.
phase. And so what we've done is we're pairing with corporations and individuals as well too. We're opening up to individuals. But when somebody purchases, like say, a case or a pallet of buck milk from us, then we're donating an equivalent amount to the food bank. And how we're doing that is when we can do a little bit larger quantities and we go direct to a purchaser, it helps. There's margins that we have to pay when we're in retail. And so in this case, instead of paying those retail margins, we get to pay those retail margin back into the food bank. And so then we're working with all food banks across Canada, all corporations across Canada. We've
Wow.
had a number of individuals step up. It's been really lovely. The most recent one, actually, BD Group here is having us out to some events and is going to be
Wonderful.
joining us. So I think it's important. At the end of the day, when you're, on the deathbed and you're thinking, should have I squeezed in another minute of work, or how did I add to this world? And this is another way that we can add to this world. And these are the important moments for sure.
That's fantastic. I'm so happy to hear that. I'll be following along to see how that goes. Exciting.
I was thinking about having a buck counter on our, like, the whole idea is, can we give $1 million, like our
Nice.
buck unit? So We're thinking of putting a counter on our website, and I've got something up my sleeve, I think, for a little calling out a local celebrity here that might be able to help out. And we'll see how that goes. Even if they respond,
Yeah.
that'd be kind of neat. But stay
Yeah, that would
tuned. In the
be
next couple of weeks, there's going to be something pretty bold coming out for me. So.
fantastic. Can't wait. So I noticed I was quite excited just shopping in Choices the other day. I saw you in Choices. Your products were new. Yeah. So where else can we find you right now? Well, I mean,
Absolutely.
we're in the lower mainland of Vancouver, and I know you're across Canada, but maybe even just in Vancouver, whereabouts are you guys?
Yes. So, got to call out Nature's Fair. They helped us start. We launched initially
Mm,
Nature's Fair. We're in all the Nature Fairs stores, both milk and ice cream. Choices is now joined both in the milk and
yeah,
ice cream. We love Choices. IGA's picked it up. We're starting to get
great.
more and more IGAs. Fresh Street Market, we're in two of them, so we're hopefully we'll be in all of them by the end of September. You have to kind of knock on some doors, but we're getting there. Buy Low Foods as well. And
Nice.
then some independents like Stong's and Queensdale and
Yeah,
some of the vegan stores. There's a Spent Ground here in Surrey. They've been a big supporter too. So yeah, online, yeah, we're starting to reach out. Vegano now is a food prep delivery service. They're carrying our
excellent.
milk.
Yeah,
Yeah, so and what is the other one in Abbotsford? Live Foods, Natural. They just changed the
great.
name, but yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
We need to get Spud on board.
Yes.
They'd be a
We
great one.
we had them like 3 months ago and then they changed and now we're trying to kind of find our way back in. So if anybody knows about Spud, just let them know that we're interested for sure.
Yeah, yeah, excellent. Oh, I think I just lost you there. That's okay.
Oh, am I back?
So yeah, you're back. That's okay, Jason. So why do they call you the love to guy?
It was a name that I'll get there. There was a name that I kind of resisted, but what I've realized is my superpower is loving to love to do something. When you think about that question, what do you love to do? It's
Mm,
not just what you love to do, because everybody has this concept about love that can kind of be garbled because you experience love in a weird way. But when you love to do something, it kind of bypasses all of that and it just situates you in what is something that just creates joy, that creates passion, that energizes you. And so I'd love to start the conversation off with that. In all my conversations, you often hear me, "Hey, what's the best thing about your day? What do you love to do today? What happened in your world that was bright?" Because when we
yeah.
start there, it just opens the mind and it starts for a different conversation, and you get access to opportunities. And it's amazing that the things we understand about people, that's when we truly connect. I've got this
Mm,
concept of the unlimited self. And when you sit into the love to, you get access to the unlimited self. That's the part of your person that doesn't tell you no when you want to do something that's exciting, but a little bit scary, right? It's the one that gives you courage. It's the one that says, yeah, that might be a little bit tough, but it's rewarding. There's something that you can do it right now to move you towards it. It's that unyielding nature inside of you that's just your champion. So when you
mhm.
start with a love to, that's where you get to. So that's why they call me the love to. Is I often ask, what do you love to do, or how, or if we are looking at this, say it's a problem, what are the aspects that we love about this, and what would we love to see happen? And if you can sit in that, eventually a solution will reveal itself that is pretty magical.
Oh, I love it. I love all of that. That's amazing. Yeah, stay in that place of positivity, right? Yeah,
Absolutely. That's where
yeah,
possibility
yeah.
turns into value.
That's right. Love it. Okay, so we talked a bit about the products that you've started with. You've mentioned the milk and the ice cream. Is there anything else, or as far as your
Ooh,
products go? Yeah.
we not yet, but we're getting close on some things. We
Okay.
we had an important development this week. We've
Mm.
actually got a high recovery rate in a protein project that we're doing,
Oh, okay.
which is super exciting. And we're going to have a protein drink coming
Mm,
out with that. So that's pretty exciting for us.
that's great.
You'll see that shortly. Our next flavor of gelato is a mango flavor. I'm mango crazy. So we'll be
It
having
feels
that out
good.
in 2 to 3 months. And then we
Nice.
have a yogurt on the horizon as well, too. That's going to be a little
Oh,
bit longer,
yeah.
but we're working towards the buckwheat yogurt as well.
Oh, fantastic. That's exciting. Yeah, some
Yes.
great products there. Well, so maybe, one of our last questions might be what's on the horizon for your company? We've talked about a few things with your expansion, and is there anything else you would add?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different things. I think what you're going to start to see is this lifestyle brand emerging. It is, yes, part products. It's, yes, part this positive perspective. And you're going to just start to see us really being bold in that. We're having a press release about our milk here in Vancouver, August 15th. So we're going to be sending out samples and being in articles and doing a lot of these things. We're bold with our statements and cards in terms of like we've developed these little sayings that were just kind of tap you into the goodness of who you are. I'll just read one of them here. We've got like
Sure.
an ice pack, for example. You're a source of tremendous good. Your unlimited self awaits. Be Buck, own your goodness. So you're really going to start to see this Be Buck, own your goodness theme just come out in a bunch of different ways. We're going all across Canada, so I think our brand is going to be accelerating just the profile. We just did a run of 10,000 ice cream units out in Ontario. It went very well, so we're going to be in stores in
Great.
Ontario. We're upping our tasting game, so we're going to be doing tasting events. So follow us because there'll be areas where we'll do like
Yeah.
free milk and ice cream days. It's just going to be a lot of fun. So that's kind of what's next is sitting in what we have and then just growing it a little bit and making sure we have everything sustainable. But yeah, doing it in some fun and unique ways.
Love it. Wow, that's so much. I appreciate everything that you've shared today. I know you're super busy right now, so this has been a ton of fun. Is there anything else that you would add today, Jason?
If there was anything that I would add, when we're looking at the positive aspect, I'll just throw this in.
Yeah.
I would welcome anybody to spend 5 minutes in the morning focusing on something that feels good to them. If it's a memory of a loved one, if it's what makes them smile, if it's finishing the sentence, I'm at my best when, if it's meditating, I just encourage them to try it for like a period of time. It's amazing and miraculous that when you can start your day with goodness, how it actually creates momentum in your day for other kind of goodnesses to show up, as it were. So that's my last message, I guess.
Love it. You'd make a great health coach.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Cool. I appreciate your time as well. Thank you. Thank you ever so
Excellent.
much.
Well,
Sorry, a
thank you
bit of
so
a
much,
delay.
Jason. Look forward to following along and seeing all the exciting things to come.
Melanie, thank you for the opportunity. I love what you're doing. Keep on rocking it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Talk soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye now.